Are you over 300 pounds and tired of dieting hard and still seeing belly fat hang on? After losing 80 pounds myself and helping hundreds through brutal weight loss plateaus, I've seen the calorie deficit myths that sabotage fat loss. Today, I'll open your eyes to why fat loss stalls and reveal the real sustainable strategies that science actually supports. There are 4 big mistakes I see almost across the board with all of my clients. I'll go over each with an easy fix at the end of each point to help you actually lose your belly fat with a calorie deficit. To start, I'm going to show you the #1 thing that makes clients feel like nothing's working. But once solved, it really unlocks everything. Okay, so we're going to draw a bucket. When the bucket's full, this represents control. You have control of your calories. But a lot of times, we don't have control, and we're going to be looking at the bucket being very, very empty, meaning you feel like you don't have a lot of control and it's hard to fill it up. And that's because of these leaks. This is going to be 50 calories of ketchup, 100 calories of peanut butter, and 70 calories of oil. So this phenomenon that the bucket represents is calorie creep. So many of my clients, when they stop this, they start losing weight again and it almost feels effortless. But how do you stop the little calories from adding up big time? Well, let me show you so you can lose an extra pound a week without changing anything. You see, overweight people overestimate their calories by up to 60%. And this is the big conclusion here that I think should give you a lot of hope. The failure of some obese subjects to lose weight while eating a diet that they report low in calories is due to an energy intake substantially higher than reported. Now, the reason that this should give you hope is because if there is a problem that you can discover, it shouldn't defeat you. It should say, oh man, thank goodness I was over consuming on calories, because now there's something that I can fix. So what you think is 1,200 calories actually could be as high as 2,000. So this isn't a willpower issue, it's estimation failure. Now here's the fix. It's just simply tracking your food. Download MyFitnessPal. It will get so much easier as you're looking at labels, as you're logging things, and then whenever you go to log it again, because we tend to eat the same sort of foods, it's already going to be there, probably in the portion that you tend to eat. Give yourself 1 week. Better yet, just 3 days. You will be shocked at what you find. Most people find they have a huge opportunity to fix something that now is going to lead to their weight loss. And if you want my free cookbook that makes logging 100 times easier with delicious recipes and portion sizes and grams already for you, you can get that for free in the description. Now this brings us though to our next problem. Imagine this, you just finished a 45-minute elliptical session. The screen says that you burned 650 calories. You feel absolutely amazing, but here's the problem. Later that day, when you're feeling a little bit snacky, you think, I burned 650 calories in that machine. I can have just a little bit of something. After all, what's 200 calories of this whenever I burn 650 on the elliptical? But that machine probably overshot your calories by 300 to 400, no joke. And if you get like a 250 calorie taco from Taco Bell, which honestly is probably closer to 300 calories, you just broke even and you might even now be in a surplus. So this feels very disheartening, but what do we do with this? I'm gonna show you so you don't actually gain weight from your cardio. So the problem with this point is calorie burn overestimation. A lot of things that calculate your calories are using your weight, your heart rate, your gender, and your age. That's usually almost all they're using. They miss major things such as your muscle, how much fat you're carrying, which burns extra calories because you're carrying so much weight, your metabolism, and your hormones. And I promise this list is not exhaustive at all. I bet there's 30 other missing factors. Steps are often overestimated as well. People often think they get 10,000. I cannot tell you how many people tell me that they get 10,000, but they're almost never anywhere near that. These pedometers from Amazon are really accurate. That's a 3D pedometer, Neskla. They're really cheap, and I think they're one of the most accurate things. Your phone is okay. As long as you keep it in your pocket consistently, then it's gonna be pretty accurate. But the overestimation of how much we move is very, very common, and I find that people just kind of assume that they walk a lot. So here's your plan. 5,000 steps per day is just not enough. You've got to take this to at least 8,000. Work up to it. It's okay if you have to work up to it, but that is your target. Okay, now you're gonna ignore machines. You're gonna use a set protocol. It doesn't matter what the machine thinks you're burning. You're just gonna stick to what we're about to talk about. Now you can fill this in with anything, but I'm gonna use a treadmill as an example, but you can do the exact same thing on a bike. It's just different, RPMs or level or whatever. You just have to track what you're doing. So on the treadmill, I would just do 3s, so 3 miles per hour. 3% incline, and this marker isn't letting me write a good 3, for 30 minutes. You're gonna adjust these variables as needed, so let's say you can only do 20 minutes, whatever, fill in the blank. But as you get more fit, this 3% incline is eventually gonna go to a 4, and then a 5, and then a 6, so on and so forth. And in the same 30 minutes, you're gonna be burning a lot more calories. Now remember, it doesn't actually matter how many calories you're burning, it's just that you're burning more, and we're not gonna make up for them by knowing what we burned, and therefore feeling okay with the snack. We're just gonna stick with the same calories we always do, And that's how fat loss starts to happen. Okay, so point 3 is probably the biggest fat loss hack that led to the majority of my weight loss. And it's gonna help you feel like your diet is a breeze. Now I'm gonna show you its power. So this is something I'm coining the Orion method. It was actually invented by UPS, although I don't think they called it a method. UPS used to rely on driver know-how. Drivers would just know where to go. They would just memorize the routes. Then they rolled out Orion, a system that tracks over 200 plus data points. At least that's what ChatGPT told me. It tracked stops, speed, fuel, all kinds of stuff. And it planned routes by the numbers. The result was 100 million fewer miles driven and around 10 million gallons of fuel saved per year. So what does this have to do with your fat loss? Let me show you, and you're never gonna have cravings again. Use the power of a structured plan, like a really well thought out, every detail covered plan. That's that 200 plus data points. This Orion system helped them have a structured way of doing it every single time. So they had a system, not willpower, not know-how. The willpower is standing for the know-how of the drivers. Instead of depending on your willpower and fighting harder and harder and harder and white knuckling and then eventually failing, you need a foolproof plan. That involves the tracking of your calories like we talked about. That involves your weightlifting regimen, which isn't really a topic of this video, but I have other videos on that. And that involves your steps and your cardio as well. This avoids the problem with calorie deficits being that you think you're actually in a calorie deficit when you're not. If your weight is flat, then you need to make adjustments to one of those factors. Your steps, your cardio, your weightlifting probably, but that really just stays constant, which is why it's not really a point of this video. And then the calories coming in, and that's your food logging. If you're not losing weight, drop your calories by 200, increase your steps by 1,000 a day, and see what happens with that. And you just keep making these adjustments. And now for the biggest problem on the list, the thing that 100% of the time is going to derail you. In this study, this is just like the take-home point. Some individual restaurant items contained up to 200% of stated values. Now that I showed you that study, it can be kind of disheartening. And so, let me talk you through it a little bit. Eating out is kind of like calorie roulette. You just really don't know what you're gonna get. Even if you eat perfect at home, eating out can wreck up to a week of progress. Here's my fix. It instantly fixes this. You take everything you eat while eating out and you multiply it by 1.2. So if you go into MyFitnessPal and you find a burger from Applebee's or whatever, local restaurant you have, you just log 1.2 of those burgers. And if you eat the fries, you log 1.2 of those fries. You're gonna see that you're not gonna have much room for anything else left in your diet that day. And that is the sneaky calories that were preventing you from losing weight in the first place. So now that you know about it, we can fix it. I'm gonna show you if you're in a pinch, my favorite places of eating out. So I'm gonna take you back to the whiteboard one more time. Okay, so you got the obvious one, you got Chipotle, which a bowl minus the rice is almost always gonna be a good choice. I like to double the protein. But then we also got Chick-fil-A. You're gonna get 12 grilled nuggets and you're gonna get a side of macaroni. This is about 450 calories and 50 grams of protein. And then you're gonna have any sub place, like a sub in a tub thing, like a salad or whatever. Now that's cool if you're caught off guard, but if you're going to a place that you can't really plan for because, for whatever reason, fill in the blank, you need to just kind of have a plan in your head that's gonna be a little bit better than what you otherwise might get. So anything grilled chicken, anything grilled fish, potatoes over, French fries, things like that, salads, whatever. Now that you understand how to ensure that your calorie deficit isn't gonna mess you up, you probably wanna know how long this is gonna take. This video is gonna help you with just that.